Hey there, I am Rachel, and welcome to another one of Sybil's Teacher's Tips. Today we are going to work on sound. So this one's a little bit different as you have a student bag and you have a teacher bag. So in the student bag you're going to find 3 activities, in the teacher bag you're going to find 2. So let's dive right in. The first activity for the student bag is called making sound. You're going to need the piece of chipboard and the long rubber band, a pair of scissors, or something like a sharp pencil. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our soundboard. So I already put a hole, but you want to make a small hole in the middle of the chipboard, just like that. You're going to take the red rubber band, make sure it's the red rubber band, and you're going to cut it. Okay. And you're going to weave it, or like put it through, right, that little hole. This next step is something your students may need help with, but they're going to make a knot on one end, okay? So as you can see, I'm just making a knot. You may have to do it twice, depending on the size of the hole. That's okay. And then you're just gonna pull, okay? This is what your soundboard looks like, okay? To have the students practice using their soundboard, you're gonna take it, in one hand hold it about this, your shoulder length, take this other one, pull it to the other, and then use your thumb or a finger to pluck it, okay? That is part 1, having them just practice, what is it like as I move this around, and can I do this? All right, part 2 of this first activity, making sound, still using your soundboard here, okay? So what we're gonna do is, once again, now we're gonna do this more structured, right? We're gonna have the students hold here, hold, pull, right? And then pluck. And as they do that, we want them to make observations on what do they see and what do they hear, okay? And talk about that. Like I said, what do you see? What do you hear? Then ask them, what do you think will happen if you make this tighter? So you can tell the students to go further out, or wrap and pull and then pluck, right? We introduced that term pluck to them. Okay. What happens there? Okay. Part 3 of this first activity, once again, we are still using our soundboard. So this is going to be a pitch challenge. After they have gone through and they have practiced using their soundboard, we have them, once again, you know, part 2, they were here and they plucked and they tightened it and plucked again, okay? We're talking about pitch. So this is their pitch challenge. They have to make a low, a medium, and a high pitch. And what do they do to the rubber band to do that, okay? So we want them to be observing the speed of the vibration and thinking about what are they doing to create a low pitch, a medium pitch, and a high pitch. Okay, part 4 of this making sound, we call it the sound hunt. It's a really fun activity that after they've gone through and they've worked with their soundboard, okay, first part is they're going to sit in the classroom. It should be absolutely silent. And then we want them to listen to all of the sounds they're hearing, write it down, okay? And write down what they think made those sounds, okay? Now they're going to go outside, do the same thing. When we're outside, and even you can do the same thing on the inside, right? We want to remind them that sound is made by vibration. So they hear a sound, what do they think is making that sound, and what do they think is vibrating to make that sound? Okay, so that is activity 1. All right, so now we're going to do activity 2 out of the student bag. This is called sound cups. So they will want to take out their plastic cup and then one of the tan rubber bands. We are going to place one rubber band over top of the cup so it looks like this, okay? Now that the students have already learned the term pluck, we tell them to pluck the rubber band. Okay, and as they're plucking, they're going to adjust the rubber band. They can make it tighter, they can make it looser, and every time they do that, they're going to pluck, okay? We want them to try to find 3 different pitches, simply by tightening the rubber band or loosening the rubber band. After they explore and they do that, we want them to write a rule to compare the speed of the rubber band and the pitch that they create, okay? Now, after they write their rule, we're going to keep it the same, and we want them to pluck so they can make it soft. And then what are they doing? What did they do to make it soft? And then pluck so that they can make it loud. Then we can talk about volume. Second part of this activity is a partner activity. So put your students in groups, whether you want to do a partner or groups, whatever you have. And it's called the pitch match game. So one of the partners is going to take their cup setup, however they want to do it. Maybe they tighten it, loosen it, whatever they want to do, it's up to them. And they're going to pluck it. It's up to the other student to listen and then pluck theirs and then adjust it to see if they can get it to the same pitch. Once they think they have it to the same pitch, have them try it. It's really cool to see them working together to determine how can we get something that sounds the same, okay? So with that, we have them go, okay, well, what did you do to, if you had to make your pitch higher, what did you have to do to that rubber band? If you had to make the pitch lower, what did you have to do to the rubber band? Then they can switch roles and the other person gets to make the sound. Third part of this activity, we are actually going to be making a cup instrument. So before we had the first rubber band, so go ahead and have your students grab 2 more rubber bands and put them over to, so now you have a sound cup instrument, okay? You as a teacher, go ahead and hop online. We have a guitar recording of Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's very simple. It's just strumming, right? Just one, like plucking, I should say. It's not really strumming of that. And what the students are going to do is they are then going to use their cup instruments and they have to adjust their rubber band so that they can get 3 different pitches on one cup. And then see if they can play Mary Had a Little Lamb. So something simple and fun, but having them think about how do I get those different pitches? What does that look like to make the different sound? So a really fun activity to do. This next activity is called guitar, and your students are going to want to have a cup. They're going to want to have a rubber band. The new thing that they're going to have is this paint stir stick. They're also going to want to take out their measuring tape, and then they're going to take out a straw. Before you even start to build the guitar, because that's the first thing you do, is go ahead and cut a piece of straw. You only need a piece of straw that's about 50 millimeters, right? So make sure the students are using millimeters, not inches, okay? The next thing they're going to do is they are going to mark on their paint stir 70 millimeters. So they can mark it with a pen, pencil, whatever. From there, you can go ahead and build the guitar. The easiest way that I have found to build the guitar is start with a rubber band, have your students put it over top of the paint stir, okay? Have the marked side at the top. This next piece, they may need a partner to help them, but they can go ahead and take their cup and put it underneath where they marked. The final piece that they're going to do is they're going to take that tiny, it's not tiny, but the little piece of straw, and they're going to put it right where they marked it, okay? This is how you build the guitar. Super easy. Okay. Now that we have the guitar built, what we want the students to do is to hold it, okay, hold your guitar, and pluck near the straw. Okay, what sound are we getting? Then, after they pluck, we're going to have them use their measuring tape to measure the length of the rubber band from here to here. Okay, that's important. Here to here, okay? Because the next thing they're going to do is they're going to measure 200 millimeters from this end to this end. I already made a little mark there for myself, right? So 200 from one end to the next. And the reason we're going to do that is because now the students are going to press where that mark is and pluck their guitar. Okay, think about how did that pitch compare to when they weren't pressing it down. Okay, The second part of this activity is having them recognize what did they do to change the pitch and to explore a little more to create 2 more pitches. So first thing they're going to do is there is a chart in their activity sheet and on their guide. Okay. Once again, have them press that 200 and pluck. Okay. Then they get to choose 2 more measurements. Make sure they document how far that is on their chart. What is the pitch like compared to the 200 millimeters? Is it lower? Is it kind of like a medium pitch? What's going on? Is it higher? You know, this is what they are there to figure out. And also, what is their observations? Think about the rubber band. Think about where they're doing that. So they are exploring why the pitches are different, and they're measuring, making observations. Okay, so remember, 2 additional measurements from the 200. They could technically come up higher. We don't tell them they have to go in between the 70 and the 2, you know, it's totally up to them. Let them explore. Okay, the final activity in the student bag is called Sound with Wind. So they are going to need a full-length straw, and what they're going to do is on one end, go ahead and flatten it. Flatten it with your fingers first. With their fingers first is going to be really helpful. I've already done this, and then you're going to take your scissors, and there is a diagram, and you just cut it so it kind of looks like a triangle. Right here, though, there is a diagram to show you what it should look like. Okay. After they have this cut, it's going to take some practice. So now I may not get this on the first try. Okay. What they're going to do is they're going to put the straw in their mouth and they're going to blow. The goal is to create a vibration with the slits and make some sound. Okay, so let's see if I can get this on the first try. Okay, like I said, it does take a little bit of practice, and that's okay. That's the whole point, right? But after they get that sound, we want them to describe what that feels like. Right, so what's really cool is they have officially created a reed instrument. And what they're going to do next is they're going to measure about 70 millimeters from the top to into the straw. Now this part you're going to want to do, they are going to poke a hole. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but I poked a hole. Now, the hole does not go all the way through. There's a picture here that shows you. You don't want to cut all the way through. We're just making an instrument. So, what we're going to do is after we punch the hole, we're going to have them blow again. And let's see if we can get this going. It's a different sound. Okay, as they're making that, we want them to see what do they notice. Now, as they're blowing it, if I can get it to go again, I'm going to take their finger and they're going to cover the hole, let the hole out. Cover. As you can tell, there's a big difference from when the hole is open and when you close the hole. So, what you can do is you can ask the students then, what do you think would happen if we added another hole? So, you can go ahead and add another hole to it, and I'm going to add a hole closer to the opening, right? And then talk about what happened to the pitch there. You can see I've officially made 3 different pitches, all because I changed the air column. What's really cool is there is a nice picture at the bottom of here that describes the air column and how the pitch changes when we change how long that air column is. All right, the next part of this activity, Sound with Wind, it's going to be talking and hearing. So you're going to want to get your cup with the 3 rubber bands again, okay? And this time, though, we're going to be using a straw. Get a new straw that doesn't have holes in it, and we're going to be blowing along the side. And we want the kids to notice what's going on. What do they notice about the rubber bands as you blow? there's a sound being made because there's also vibration, okay? Then we want the kids to put their hands on their throat, just like this, or like this, because we want them to talk loudly, talk softly, and think about what they are feeling. How are those vibrations different when they talk loudly, when they talk softly? So after they've done this, they're figuring out, okay, how do we produce the sounds? Now we want to know, how do we hear the sound? So have them sit and cup their ears and listen. And then take their hands away. What do they notice? What's different and stuff like that. And so we then go into how the ear allows us to hear the different parts and why we can hear them more loudly. Let me go like this. Okay. What's really cool too is on the slide deck, feel free to use it, but there's some images of animals' ears, and we want them to think about how that shape of the animal's ear allows them to get the sound wave. If you have pictures of your own, go ahead and use those. The other thing we have them look at though is, okay, this old picture here, okay, and that's an ear trumpet that was used back in the day. And what we want the students to do is think about and provide an explanation based on what they've learned, what they've seen, about how that would have helped people hear.